with Originateve. We're out here at one of our school regenerative garden projects. It is an experiment in community development and closing loops on waste systems so that we produce and move towards regenerative practice in our culture. So we got some amazing things happening. I'm going to touch on the community partners that we work with to make all of this stuff happen along the way. All right, so we're here at Empower Community School Garden. This is a regenerative workspace. We are transforming a commercial space, which is a great way to find land that is that's available that can help meet some mutual needs. This land was hard to maintain because of the slope. It's on the rear side of the building, so the community does not see this except for the path behind me on Tollgate Creek. And this is the way that a lot of the land looked last year. So what we're going to do is transform these slopes, 1, 2, 3, and a corner piece in the back, 4, into a regenerative garden. The way that we're doing that is by rebuilding the soil first. So you may have heard the regenerative term farming the soil. So we're putting a bunch of carbon and life into the soil as we go. And we're doing that in some unique ways with some community partners. One of those is working with Old 121 Brewery and Ballmer Peak Distillery using their spent grain. I'm going to show you the spent grain right here. You get bags of this stuff. This is a byproduct of the brewing process, the distilling process, along with dunder in the distillation process using molasses. We take those nutrient-rich byproducts and we apply them to the soil here. But this is what it's starting with. This is what it starts with. Then we'll show you what this process does. So we're taking this, we're terracing small hugelkultur beds. Hugelkultur is a process of planting water into the soil using carbon from the existing area. So carbon in the form of dead tree branches, garden waste, yard waste, is all going into the soil. We're burying it underneath, and that carbon will bond to water. So each of these beds here that I'm going to show you are seeded with wood, with a bunch of carbon, various sizes, leaf litter, anything that comes from any sort of yard waste goes in there. There are some products that you want to be more dead than not, like tree of heavens and maybe elms that can resprout. But for the most part, you throw your garden waste in there. This is this large pile of debris was brought to us by one of our community partners here in Aurora, Leaf Life Tree Care. This helps them, it saves them a dump fee, and it provides this bulk resource for us to improve the soil. So moving up here, once you seed that garden bed with carbon, build a big bed of that, then you're going to put dirt on top of that, right? So each one of these here is its own little bed, creating our terrace. And this is the first one to be done. I'll show you the kale and mustard coming up there. But on top of this, you can see that this is the soil color that we have initially. It's very different than the soil color we have on top, and that's because with our spent grain partners, that grain goes to a different farm, or a backyard farm, urban farm, where there's chickens and turkeys, and those chickens and turkeys eat through that and process it, and then we take that product. So this product right here is actually the spent grain and mulch litter from from turkeys and chickens that are eating so it's saving the process of raising turkeys and chickens money, because they don't have to buy as much feed, and it's creating a processing step in the work towards having very actively living micro ecosystem here. It is crucial in regenerative practice to have great community partners. Back of old 121 Brewhouse in Lakewood, Colorado, great local brew pub. This is their spent grain from I believe a Pilsner that Brett made yesterday. So two big boxes here of spent grain that we're going to feed to the chickens. So we're taking this spent grain to the chickens. I'm going to show everyone how much they really like this. Oh yeah, supper time. Right here we can see the chickens. They've got spent grain right there, and we're cleaning out the compost that they provide for us. So as they eat through all that spent grain, then pack all of this stuff up, and this becomes our top layer to mix in and really jumpstart the microbiome of that hugelkultur. So we're back here at the Empower FLORA Forest Laboratory of Regenerative Arts garden, and we have these bags that came out of the chicken yard. Right, that's this beautiful compost. And this is going to go on top of our hugelkultur. So we're going to go ahead and bury this stuff with a layer of not so good soil. And then once this is done, we will put the compost on top of it. All right, so we got that bed made. Hugelkultur bed made. The one below that is now made. You can see those sticks and debris laying in there ready for the dirt, and this bed up here is ready for the compost. So go ahead and dump this compost in here. Beautiful, beautiful. So at Originateve, we qualify regenerative practice by aiming at a maximum capacity for regeneration. And to do that, we want to include corporations, private parties, businesses, nonprofits, public sector, schools, government, organizations, municipalities, all of the above, to achieve the maximum amount of regeneration that we can and enclose as many loops, unnecessary energy, inefficient loops in the process. So as you can see here, this diagram shows the brewery to spent grain, to chicken manure, to wood chips, to that eventually regenerates and becomes our food. Now, we have a great partnership here with Empower Community High School. where the school takes their compostables and feeds them into the same process. Some schools are fortunate enough to have their own chickens. We may do that in the future, and put the chickens right into that step, so that everything's feeding into that process of breaking down waste and turning it into a source of nutrients with which to put back into our system. As we do that, we're eliminating cost. We're reducing or eliminating costs. So here we're reducing the waste handling costs for leaf life, tree service, for the brewery, for the distillery, and for the school itself with their compostables, both cardboard and paper products, carbon, and anything compostable from the cafeteria. We're also helping to reduce the cost of feeding the livestock with the spent grain. All of this is moving into hugelkultur and carbon-rich gardening, which is going to absorb and passively water our system, and thus reduce, or in some cases, if it's a really, really dense humus, eliminate the need for irrigation. So here we are a couple days later. It's been a snowy week, but the average temperature of the ground here, due to all that compost, it all has a life in it, so it stays a little bit warmer and sheds that snow a little bit quicker. Hugelkultur right there. Just walking up our steps here. About 2.5 weeks ago was when this bed was seeded. We see little sprouts coming up. The oldest bed, which is a couple months old, will be right here at the top. And let's see our onions, walking onions coming up there. And the purple leaf is a red mustard mixed in with some kohlrabi, some kale, and orak. It looks like there's a giant sunflower coming up there. Beautiful.